Years ago, I was Chinese.
So here's what we're going to do. I have these prompts. I'm going to give them a wee shuffle. Right, I don't know. I should probably put them up, right? I'm going to give them a wee shuffle. I'm going to pick one at a time. I'm going to give a little bit of banter about it. And then it'll go on the very professional review board. I was going to do a quad graph. I'm not going to bother my arse. All that's important is whether it's top quality or utter pish. We'll talk about it. We'll whack it on. We'll have our final review, I suppose. Right, I'm going to shuffle these now. Give me a second. Make sure it's on camera this time. All right, that can be our first one. It jumped out. That's what they say about shuffling tarot cards and that. If it jumps out at you, that's your card. Ryo Hazuki, our protagonist, is a gamer.
Let's get sweaty.
I love minigames. Everybody loves minigames. They don't do minigames anymore. Well, Yakuza does minigames. It's like the only main franchise I can think of off the top of my head that still does minigames. Minigames mostly come in three forms. In Shenmue, you get the slot machines and the casino. It's a casino if it's just slot machines and it's all exactly the same slot machine, just at different prices. Slot machines, the arcade. Does gacha count? Gacha maybe counts. And not karaoke. Karaoke's the only... Or fishing. So there's two things. Let's talk about the things it doesn't have. There's two things that, while playing Shenmue, I just kind of figured it would have. You go into the karaoke bar. And I guess this is Yakuza brain talking. You go, oh, brilliant, karaoke. I bet you Ryo's got a very monotone, terrible singing voice. Let's find out. And you don't find out. There's no karaoke in Shenmue, at least not to my knowledge. It's also a horrible karaoke bar. There's a minging sink in the corner and nobody's actually singing. Maybe I'll do a whole video in all the locations in Shenmue. That's for another time. You don't get fishing. You go to the new harbour district and there's loads of fishermen. You think, well, this is kind of the game that maybe have a bit of fishing. Every game has a bit of fishing. If it's going to have mini games, it probably has fishing in it. No fishing. That's unfortunate. Also, I genuinely mean this. I do not know if there's a pool minigame in Shenmue, because there is a jazz bar and it's called like the MQJ. I can't really remember what it's called, right? It's got some dickhead name. MQJ Jazz Bar. And you go in and there's these two bastards hogging the table for the entire game, and if there's a quest to get to play pool with it, I never managed to trigger it. Every single time I went in and talked to them, they told me to piss off. So as far as I know, there's no pool minigame either, despite the fact there's a pool table. What there is an arcade. Also, shout out to Ryo Hazuki for having a Sega Saturn in 1986. That couldn't have been easy to get his hands on. Aye, so the arcade. There's not a huge amount of games in the arcade. There's Super Hang-On, which I love. I used to have Super Hang-On as a wee guy. I actually think I had 2 copies of Super Hang-On. I think I had Super Hang-On, and I don't know if it was only PAL regions that got this, but there was these wee like triple pack collections, and I had 2 of them, and I forget which games were in which collection, but Super Hang-On, Columns, Shinobi, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, and something else. I forget what the 6th game was, but some sort of combination of that had Super Hang-On. Loved a bit of Super Hang-On. Maybe Space Harrier was the last game in the collection, because Space Harrier is, coincidentally, also the other game in the arcade. I'm shite at Space Harrier. I was shite at Space Harrier when I was a wee guy, and I'm still shite at Space Harrier now, which subsequently means Ryo's shite at Space Harrier too. It doesn't have Virtua Fighter. You know, just that's the... But then again, I suppose back... When did this come out? 2000. Back in 2000, it was probably a bit of an ask to ask them to whack in Virtua Fighter into a Shenmue game. The Super Hang-On's fun, and Space Harrier's shite. But no Virtua Fighter, but what it does have, it's a very elaborate boxing game. QTE game. It goes on for ages, there's lots of animations, and Ryo really likes it because he's got a bit of a thing for his karate, which we'll get to. But that's good fun, and that's definitely the game you're supposed to, I think, put the most time into. I don't think you get a reward or anything for getting the top score, because I think I got the top score, if I remember right. I played this months ago, by the way, and I have a terrible memory. I don't know why I'm doing an improvised review of Shenmue right now. But why not? God, my head's shiny as fuck in this. Other than that, it's slot machines. My favourite thing about what we will generously call the casino is that the sign for the casino is literally just a picture of the interior of the casino. As if to say, mate, we know you have a gambling addiction, right? Whatever, it's a casino, get in here and give us your money. It's not a particularly good casino, it only has slot machines. and it just has incremental slot machines, which I only assume exist to take your winnings from you, right? So you come in with a tenner and, oh shit, I made 20 quid, brilliant, now I've got 30 bucks, well I'm going to go up to the bigger machine, and it just takes your money faster. The house always wins, as they say. So it only has the slot machines. The only other things it has is a ceiling light that's decorated to look like the sky so that you don't miss it as you waste hours and hours in the casino. And it has a nice wee couch for you to go and sit down and have a wee cry before you go back to your very disappointed wife. I won a small amount, and then I bet it all again, and then I lost it, and I was like, bollocks to this, I'm leaving. Because we have gacha to buy. Kind of minigame adjacent, isn't it? Because it's, you know what, it's just gambling. It's just gambling, it's just the element of chance. And it's brutal in Shenmue, because half the toys are shite. What was my first pick? Hold on, I've got a wee note of what my first gacha pick was. What was it? It was a dice. My first gacha pool was just a dice. I think I got like 40 before I gave up, and I got some good ones. I think Metal Sonic was maybe the best I got. I got Ristar, if I remember right. Ristar's pretty good. I wanted a Knights one, but I never got Knights. Never got Sonic or anything like that. Or Big the Cat. I would have taken Big the Cat. That'd have been the closest thing to a fishing minigame I would have got, and I would have taken that. But I didn't get that. No. Also, I forgot there's darts. There's darts in the arcade, and much like real life, I don't get darts really, and I wasn't really good at it. I was quite shite at the darts, even though I did somehow get the high score. You know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I was going to put this quite high because I'm a big fan of minigames. But I hate Space Harrier. I do like Super Hang-On. I didn't like the darts. Who cares about QTEs? And the gacha was just depressing, to be quite honest. Eventually, I gave up on gacha. I was running a sort of one toy from every machine every time I pass it, and eventually I just quit. So no, you know what? Being a gamer in Shenmue is quite an unrewarding experience. I'm going to whack that over there. Right?
If I don't keep busy, I'll get depressed, you know.
What's next? It's the drama. Shenmue's story is about how men will literally chase the Chinese cartel all the way back to Hong Kong instead of taking over the family dojo. Or instead of phoning the police. I was trying to make Rio's the main character. You can tell this is truly random, or we would have started with that. I was trying to make Rio call the police so you can use the rotary phones, okay? And you have to every time. And I tried to make him pranky the police until I realised, mate, it's not a prank call. Somebody just killed your dad, so somebody's killed your dad. I should have started with that too. There's a guy, Landy's nuts on your fucking chin, mate. Both, yes. Landy's killed your dad over a mirror, which doesn't really look like a mirror, but they say it's a mirror. We'll call it a mirror, the Jade Mirror. And you're on the trail, try to find out who and the why of what happened. To be quite honest, right, we're not. I really like this game, but we're not starting off strong. To be quite honest, this is kind of secondary. This part's kind of secondary in Shenmue. The story, not a whole lot happens. It's mostly just the ask your pals simulator. So every time something happens, you have to ask somebody until you find the right person to ask. They'll give you the information. They'll give you the next question to ask. So you're like, oh no, what happened? And somebody's like, oh, it was guys in black suits. You're like, all right, I better go ask about guys in black suits. So you run around asking about guys in black suits, and eventually one says, I saw a black car. You're like, black suits, black car. I'll go and ask about the black car. You ask about the black car, and then I think eventually it's like sailors, and then you have to go and you have to ask about sailors. Then you have to ask about the harbour. Then you have to ask about the bikers. And then that's pretty much the entire game. And there's some fights in between, and that's kind of it. That's not really why you play Shenmue. There are a lot of side quests and stuff that can randomly pop up. We'll whack that into this discussion. Apparently, because I never really got any, I have to say, I got like maybe one. I got the and I don't even think I finished it, right? I found this wee stray cat. You can't miss it. It's at the shrine at the start. It's kind of your introductory into, oh, here, by the way, if you cut around and you hang around and you talk to folk like that, you'll eventually pick up trails and wee sequences will happen, and we'll have little mini stories all throughout the game. Is what I imagine they were trying to tell me, but that wasn't my experience in the slightest. I found the wee cat. You find this wee lassie. She names the wee cat. You can feed the wee cat. You can pet the wee cat. Every now and again you walk past, you go visit the wee cat. Maybe you get an update from the wee lassie about this wee stray cat. And then one day it just wasn't there. And I feel like I've missed something. Like I missed the finale of that somehow. Or it got eaten by the larger stray cat that I saw, or a fox or something. But either way, in my entire time playing Shenmue, I think I got like 3/4 of a single solitary side quest. And that was about it. So I have to say, this part of the game's shite, right? I'm not really into that part at all. It doesn't matter that it's shite, or that my experience was shite. Maybe if you get lots of the wee mini things, it's really cool and stuff. My experience wasn't very good. That seems quite harsh, doesn't it? That's maybe a wee bit harsh, because it's not offensive. It's just kind of non-existent. I'm rubbing off all that ink. It's just kind of non-existent, but it is worse than the minigames. All I'm saying is if Super Hang-On was part of the main game, that would be higher.
Hi, doll. What are you doing?
Nothing really.
Okie dokie. Undiagnosed Ryo Hazuki. Ryo Hazuki might be the single most relatable player character in the history of video games. I mean, I guess I just list off a whole bunch of character traits and you can tell me how relatable you think he is, whether it's literally you or whether you know somebody that does a lot of this sort of stuff. So I guess we'll start with his hyperfixation on karate. There's a few instances in the game where people will try to talk to him not about the karate that he wants to talk about, and he just refuses to acknowledge them. It's hysterical.
Nowadays, soccer is hip. Nobody understands, you know. Is baseball gonna die out? Hattori-san. Yes? I ought to go. See you. Oh, I see. See ya.
Or later on in the game, I think you come out of the tattoo parlour and Nozomi, that's your crush. Well, you're her crush. We'll get to that. Or we'll get to Ryo and women in a minute. Which is another thing. Like, you're meant to be a student and you just never go to school, and nobody seems to care that you dog school all the time for months on end because you're too busy chasing the Chinese cartel. And she's trying to tell you about her feelings and what you're going to pick, what's going to happen, are we going to go to different colleges, blah blah blah.
Have you decided where to go?
Not yet, but if I go, it'll have karate.
Better believe it'll have karate. Like, he just doesn't care a jot about anything other than karate. He's also terrible with women. Absolutely atrocious. Women hate him, right? Maybe I'll just put in a compilation of a bunch of women telling you to piss off when you try and talk to them.
Excuse me.
I don't got time to talk to you.
I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable talking with strange men. Ask someone else around here, will you?
And then even if they do talk to him, if it's a sort of older woman, he literally stares at their chest and ums and ahs and says nothing else. Multiple times I call him just staring at tits. And he doesn't know what else to say.
Look here, Ryo. Yeah?
When it comes to Nozomi, who obviously likes him, he just cannot, number one, let her talk about her feelings without him immediately just making it about himself. And also, like, express his emotions towards her or acknowledge her emotions in any sort of way.
Nozomi,
Ryo?
you got a minute?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I changed my mind.
Realistically, he doesn't really do emotions. He's not very good at expressing himself or reading social cues or interacting with anybody. Like the arcade, we talked about the arcade guy when you were talking about the boxing and you get like a good score and the arcade guy's trying to be nice, right? Behind the counter. It's a dingy, horrible arcade to be quite honest, but behind the counter he's trying to be nice. He's like, oh, well done, mate. Well done, good score. Ryo wasn't that good.
Way to go, man.
Nah, I'm not that good.
Can't he do social cues whatsoever? He also can't like read a situation. There's a point where in the Chinese, right, you help the Chinese restaurant guy out and blah blah, you become pals. Every time you go in, man, they offer you food, free food, like 3 times, and he will not accept people's kindness. He's having none of it. Like, Ryo, mate, relax. Somebody's just trying to do you a solid. He's so awkward and weird. Weird's maybe not the right word, right? Because we all have a lot of these traits in us. But it is the traits we kind of lie in bed and think about at night, you know what I mean? Even when he's asking questions, he can't just ask them normally. Like when the point when you talk to the burger guy, I think you're asking about the black car. We spoke about how you're always asking questions in Shenmue, asking about the black car. And something to do with the fact the black car was there when it was raining. right? And instead of being like, mate, see on Wednesday when it was raining, did you see a black car? No, he says something daft like,
Do you remember the day when the snow changed to rain?
he's all trying to wax poetic, like, mate, do you want brown sauce on your burger or not? All the time that he asks, you're asking about the tattoo parlour, there's one of your questions, where's the tattoo parlour? And instead of being like, John, do you know where the tattoo parlour is?
I'm looking for a type of shop.
Just ask where the tattoo parlour is, mate. Fuck's sake. Oh, the poor guy. He's some lad, so he is. I tell you what, right? I love him to bits. I think he's fantastic. Undiagnosed, Ryo Hazuki. Right up the top.
You're still a minor. You know you're too young to drink. Understand?
Alright.
Help. So this is just the sort of additional gameplay controls sort of banter, because I don't really care too much about gameplay and controls and UI. Yeah, it's not really whatever, mate. It's the least important thing for me, right? I like characters, I like minigames, I like exploration, like a bit of story, all that good stuff. The reason it's labelled help is because of the controls, right? There's two issues with the controls. One is the look at function. We'll get to all the looking at and picking up stuff later. You hold the right trigger and you go into sort of first person and you can look about and stuff, and it will zoom in on important items, and that's fine and dandy, but it doesn't always catch it. So when you can't look at something, there's always a wee bit where you're like, well, can I not look at it, or can you are you just refusing to look at it? Is this a control problem, or is this just not something I can look at? And that gets quite annoying. Right, that's one of the only annoyances really in terms of controls and things like that. The only other one is the tank controls, which aren't really tank controls, and that's kind of the problem, because it takes a step forward in turns. They're more like bike controls or car controls, which is fine when you're exploring the beautiful streets of Sakuragaoka or Dobuita or whatever. But when you're like this, right, and you're in a tight corridor in his house, and you're trying to navigate the doorways, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. You do get used to it, like most things. You do get used to it, but it's not great, especially at the start. Other than that, Wii systems and stuff that I quite like. You get a map, but you can't access it. You have to, each zone will have its own map, like on the wall, that you can go check out, which I like. Most of this is all products of its time, but not all of it is bad. I think those 2 points were bad, but I like the map. I like the fact that you have to actually physically go to where a map would be, check the map, and then navigate from there. I like a bit of exploration. I quite like that. I don't have a great memory. Forcing me to do that helps me remember the layout of the area. I like that. So there's no map menu. Speaking of menus, anytime you, not pause, but anytime you go into your inventory or anything like that, time keeps passing, which I like. Which is another thing you don't get very often as well. You usually only get that in brutal games as a sort of punishment for taking your time, and not so much a punishment, but to stop you from cheesing things, like to stop you from Skyrimming it. You know, when you're getting battered and you pause it and you eat 706 cheese wheels. Most games implement sort of that unpaused menu to counter that. Shenmue just does it because I guess the idea is the sort of real life element of, listen, Ryo's just checking his pockets, you know? He's just checking his wee cassette player. He's just checking his horrible gacha collection. So time keeps moving in Shenmue no matter what, which I quite like. Speaking of gacha collections, the way you pay for all that stuff, up until you get a job, which we'll get to, is Ine-san, your housekeeper, who I thought was your gran for the longest time. Your housekeeper gives you pocket money every day so that you can go buy gacha toys and chocolate, you know, everything a strong 18-year-old needs. But I say the controls aren't great, but I do like all the sort of exploration-y sort of stuff, so I'm going to whack that bollocks right in the middle. Right in the middle. Drop my mic.
Who the hell do you think you're talking to? You frontin' with me? I've got a question for you. Who you kidding? Kiss off, twit!
Now, as an extension of that, Ryo Hazuki's a nosy bastard, right? Ryo Hazuki will pick up and look at almost everything. I tell you what I'll do. To describe the intricacy of this, I'll describe like my first hour of the game. I spent my first hour of the game still inside the house. You can just open all the drawers, all the cupboards. You can look at everything. You start in Rio's bedroom and you get like a cassette tape and a cassette player, which actually should be in the gameplay bit because you can listen to music. The only problem with it is there are times like waiting at the bus stop. There's a bus stop in the game where it would be nice to put the music on and just stand, but you can only listen to the music in the menu. So see, actually, I'm going to bump that down a tiny wee bit because I should be allowed to listen to music on the go. But aye, you pick up cassettes, you can buy cassettes as well from shops. Another thing, you go into shops, you can pick up all the stuff in shops to look at it as well. But back to the Hazuki residence, you can rattle your... I thought it was your brother, he's not your brother, he's like a live-in karate student. You can rattle his piggy bank. You can check Ryo's clothes. There's another thing about Ryo Hazuki, old undiagnosed Ryo Hazuki over there. He does have a white t-shirt for every single day. That is not a character design where the character just doesn't change his clothes. He just has 7 white t-shirts. He also has manky white sock drawer. And those socks look like they would shatter into pieces if you tried to separate them. Very relatable young man. But you raid the cutlery drawer, which is a combination of low poly 3D models and JPEGs. Back in my day, when you wanted graphics to be realistic, you just took photos of things. You go into the kitchen, you open the cupboard, and there's cockroaches. Like, Ini-san, mate, I understand Dad's just died, but that doesn't mean you can start slacking off. Get to cleaning. That's terrible. She's lovely. I take that back. She doesn't deserve that. You can pick up the Sega Saturn, plop it on top of the telly. You can't plug it in or play any games, but Sega Saturn games didn't exist in 1986, so what are you going to do? You can also... So he does one weird thing, right? Good old Ryo Hazuki over there. He takes all the pictures off the walls for some reason, and you never find anything. Now, granted, you can take the scrolls off the walls in the dojo part of it, and there's a wee bit of questing stuff that goes there. There's holes in the walls, you can fit keys and all that rubbish, right? But you can also just take all the pictures off the walls for no reason whatsoever. Other than that, you explore the world, you can look at all the flowers every time. That was something I quite enjoyed, the flower vibes. We'll get to the vibes later. The flower vibes. You can look at the maracas in the karaoke bar that isn't a mini game or really a karaoke bar. What other game lets you look at the maracas, mate? You know what I mean? I haven't played Red Dead. I can almost guarantee they don't let you play with the maracas in Red Dead. No, they don't. They don't actually let you play with the maracas in Shenmue. You can look at them, which is more than I can say about any Rockstar game.
Do you know a man named Charlie?
Charlie? Charlie? I know Charlie Chaplin, but he's no longer with us. I assume you mean someone local?
Yes.
Oh, it's the fixation. It's the hyperfixation. The hyperfixation. The karate. The combat. Combat's very Virtua Fighter-esque, as you'd probably imagine. I was never very good at Virtua Fighter. I always thought it was very cool, and it felt like the sophisticated man's fighting game. But I was always kind of shite at it. Not as shite as I was at Space Harrier. But that's not what I like about the combat in this game. What I like about the combat in this game is the realistic way you learn everything. You practice, right? You awkwardly practice in the park in public. I would rather die. If you want to learn a certain move, you just have to do that move over and over and over again. It's very This is going to sound redundant, right? But Shenmue is very Shenmue about almost everything. And there is nothing that is more Shenmue about than the combat. So you can go to the park or the parking lot or your dojo, heaven forbid, and practice your moves where you'll kind of level them up a wee bit. You also, you can pick training in your sleep. You go to bed, you pick training, and it will let you sleep on it. The only thing I can think is that is him like manifesting. You know, he's picturing, because he's obsessed with karate, obviously, so it's probably all he bloody thinks about. He's obsessing about what amazing karate moves he's going to do to land E all night, every night, and you'll get like a wee bit of training every night, even if you don't bother going to the park and repeating it over and over and over again, which I didn't do. I couldn't be arsed. Minimal effort, mate. And you don't have, that's the good thing as well, you don't actually have to try super hard. Just pick a couple of moves that work good for you, that you can kind of suss out, and get your dodges timed decent, maybe, and you'll be good. The other way you learn moves, which is my favourite bit, which I just think is really cool, is you'll meet somebody. They will describe the moves, and they're describing the controls to you.
Quickly shift your weight forward. Good. That's the way. Then as you move forward, You extend your arms and legs as you strike with your palms. Now, try it again.
And you have to figure out what they're saying and figure out the buttons for the moves to learn the moves. I think that's awesome. You can also just buy scrolls from the antique shop and learn them that way. It's frantic. My first battle was frantic as well. It's like 4 other guys. So Virtua Fighter controls with like multiple opponents. Quite fun. I actually kind of wish there was more combat, as long as it didn't result in me having to grind the combat more. But it's good stuff. Where are we putting it? No, I like it, right? Ah, bollocks.
I don't have the time to fool with looking at men.
I see.
Ryo Hazuki loves karate. Ryo Hazuki loves gacha. Ryo Hazuki loves his forklift, so he does. I'm not the biggest fan of it. So the third act of the game, at least I think it's considered the third act, it's probably disc 3. I know it's a 3-disc game originally on the Dreamcast. Is you go to New Harbour and you get a job. And Shenmue is very Shenmue about it. You get a job. Now, you do get to drive a forklift. You do get to race the forklift every morning, which was fun. I didn't hate this, right? I didn't hate this. I was quite enjoying this. So you get the job. Every morning you race the forklift. You get a wee forklift gacha toy prize for whatever position you finalise the race in. And then you go ahead and you lift boxes for the rest of the day. You get a lunch break, then you lift boxes for the rest of the day. I think I got to day 3 and I'm like, I quite like this. This is quite chill and stuff. But, you know, I assumed after day 3 I'd be done. No. Not after day 3. I actually can't remember how many days I was at that fucking forklifting. But it did kill the vibe. It got very monotonous. I was very bored. Because the problem with it is you haven't had responsibility throughout the game yet, okay? Remember, he's a wee dogger. Dogging doesn't mean what it used to mean. Back in my day, where I'm from, dogging used to mean skipping school. Truant, as the posh kids might say. Now it means something very different. I don't think Ryo does a lot of dogging in his life. He does go to a lot of parks. Scaring away all the doggers with his fucking karate. You don't have any real responsibilities. So you kind of get to do what you want. You get to explore. You get to try and hunt down bloody quests. You get freedom to do what you want. Freedom to, you know, play all the mini games, do the gacha stuff, talk to folk, and then that's kind of taken away from you. And not in like a fun way. In a sort of life sucks, grow up sort of way. Mate, if I wanted to grow up and get a real job, I wouldn't be talking about Shenmue to a camera. No, I didn't like the forklift thing. I did like, right, I was going to put this right at the, I was going to put it right at the bottom, right? But I do really like the harbour. I like the vibes of the harbour. I like some of the people you meet. I like some of the characters. I like some of the areas. And before it wears out its welcome, I like all the forklift stuff. And I do know a forklift guy. And these are forklift guys. Like I used to work with a guy who used to drive a forklift, and now he didn't. He just worked retail. And he used to always talk about how much he missed his forklift. And then I look at Shenmue's forklift culture, where they have wee gacha machines in their minging lounge that has forklifts in it. And I'm like, what kind of sado would drive a forklift and also collect? I was like, forklift drivers would drive a forklift and collect forklifts. That's what they're like. So it is quite a realistic depiction of the monotony and sort of sadness of forklift loving, but it does just kill the vibes. I feel like I've been a bit harsh on the minigames. I'm going to pump the minigames up a little bit. Is this almost non-existent story technically worse? No, you know what? I need to stay strong. I need to stay strong and be honest. By day, like bloody 5 of the forklift, garbage. Hate the thing. Sometimes you just got to be honest. Tremendous game. And the ending is great fun and there's lots of stuff. But man, that forklift shit really wears out its welcome.
I'm just fine and dandy.
Are you sure?
I'm okay.
Something that never wears out its welcome. Something that is always relevant and always present. The Shenmue vibes. I'm too old to be using the word vibes, right? But Shenmue is the most vibes a game has ever had. I don't even know where to begin talking about the vibes in Shenmue. So I mentioned earlier that I spent over an hour in the house when I first started the game. And I'm very glad I did, because by the time I left the house, it was dusk. And when I left the residence and I got onto Yamanose Street, and the sun was just coming down and the lights were just coming on and everybody was off the street and it was just quiet. It was amazing. I instinctually just started RP walking around just to take it all in. It's such a vibe. And speaking of night, like every time it turns, I can't remember exactly what hour it is, but every time it turns from sort of afternoon to evening, you get this beautiful little cutscene. No matter, depending on what location you're in, whether it's the harbour, Sakuragaoka, Yamanose, or Dobuita, I'm just going to string them all together and let them play. This is my favourite bit of the day in Shenmue. I just love it. I just love the energy this game has. I love all the locations, all the interiors. I love the convenience store, right? The one in town. It has Pooh magazine. I love Pooh magazine. I love the convenience store with the wee woman in it who calls Ryo baby boy Ryo.
Excuse me.
What is it, baby boy Ryo?
It's a bit of a dingy place, but it reminds me of like the wee shops back on Mass Street back home, way back in the day when I was a wee guy. It's got like flyaway footballs. I mean, it's got things like squid legs and things that you don't really get in Scotland, but it's got wee like lucky bags and there's raffles in it and things like that. I love that the Chinese restaurant is foggy. I don't know why there's fog in the Chinese restaurant. It's the only building that does that, and I love it. I love the Asia Travel Company offices. It's the bad travel agency. It's the kind of travel agency you go into and you go like, wow, I do want to leave this country. I love how it looks like an old detective agency. I just think it's fantastic. I love that wee building. I love all the JPEG food. I love Tom's dancing. I love the harbour. I love standing with the fishermen. Unfortunately not fishing. It's brilliant. The vibes are immaculate in Shenmue. Absolutely. Where's the wee bit? Absolutely immaculate. Boom. Can he beat it? A wee iron brew from me to you.
Sorry, I'm in a big hurry.
I see.
Well, this is kind of vibes adjacent. The uncanniness, the simulation, the routine. I feel like routine doesn't do it justice. Skyrim has routines, right? If you take Bellathor's general goods, right, it's the shopkeeper. He lives in his own shop, he goes to bed, he gets up in the morning, he walks to his counter, the door in his shop goes from locked to open, he stands at his counter till it's night time, he just goes to bed, and that's his day. See this? Shenmue is unreal. Everybody has their own home. You leave your home to go to your shop, the shutters are down, you have to roll the shutters up. If you've ever worked retail, there's a difference between the rattle up and the rattle down. Okay, and they both do very different things to your soul. And you'll see the guy either go into the shop or just stand in front of the shop. It's a lot of the guys in Shenmue. It's not an interior cell. They just have like a wee sort of storefront going on. They'll run errands, right? Sometimes they'll go and they'll do something, and then somebody will have to take over. Like they have alternating shifts. I went to the antique shop once, right? And I was looking, I can't remember why I was looking to talk to the woman in the antique shop, and the person at the counter was just an 8-year-old wee lassie who was reading her colouring in book, which by the way is not what you do with a colouring in book. They pay her in cake, so they take shifts. They go on lunch breaks, then they come back after their long day, they shutter the shop down, then maybe they go shopping, maybe they go to the restaurant, maybe they go to a restaurant, then they go to a bar. The restaurant's different from the lunch place because some places are open for lunch, as they are because they're more lunch orientated, like a wee ramen shop or a wee sushi bar, and other places like actual bars or like big restaurants. Like I don't know if Bob's Pizzeria is open at lunch. You can only go at night because they're proper restaurants. That's also like a crazy difference you just wouldn't usually bother with. And then the bars work the same. Everybody then sort of piles into the bars at night. Most of them. Some of them probably don't. Some of them do a bit of shopping, then they just go home. Different routines every day. It's mental. What if it's raining? If it's raining, they'll take their umbrellas out. Okay, Simon, loads of games do that. It's like, yeah, well, if this was Skyrim and you wanted NPCs to react to the bad weather, you would need a mod for that. When it's raining, they take their washing in, their laundry. You don't even get laundry in Skyrim. Shenmue does a great job of making the world feel lived in and genuinely real, where everybody has their own house, everybody has their own routine, maybe their own job, maybe they're retired, they hang around, the old guys will often hang around in the park and stuff. You'll see kids at the park at certain times, not other times. You'll see kids hanging around the gacha certain times, certain days, not certain other days. And it's brilliant. The only thing I've found that breaks the illusion a little bit. Where is he? You see that? It's this guy. It's Tom. Now, Tom's fantastic. Right, Tom's the reggae guy, everybody loves Tom, but there are two Toms. There's one Tom in Dobuita, there's one Tom in the harbour. If you talk to Tom in Dobuita, you get the bus to the harbour, Tom will be at the harbour. Nobody else works like that. He's the only one that just teleports to wherever the game wants him to be. As far as I can tell, almost every other person, if not every other person, is accounted for. Even with that said, it's incredible. I absolutely love it. Do I love it more than I like Ryo? I really like Ryo as a protagonist. He's weird, he's awkward, and I see a lot of myself in him. Maybe some parts I wish weren't there. I'm going to put this... Oh, but it's... You know what? I can't think of a modern game that's done it as well as Shenmue. I think that deserves the big one. I'm alright with that. And I've actually got something that fits that gap. Right in between karate and undiagnosed Ryo Hazuki. And that is the banter, the voice acting, the dialogue.
Mario.
Welcome. Oh, it's you, Ryo. Pizza Margherita? It's Nozomi's favorite. I make it real fast, huh?
Thanks, but not today.
That's too bad, huh?
See you later.
Ciao.
Off the top of my head, what I think I'm going to do is, instead of just going, haha, they say funny things and it's funny, haha, and then dumping like 10 minutes worth of funny one-liners on you, I will splice them throughout the video and then celebrate them at the end, which is right now, which I've probably done already, I assume.
Sorry, young'un. I've got a silly little matter I must attend to.
The banter's great. The voice acting's hysterical. I think perhaps a lot of the awkwardness is what you would get in like anime and stuff, where the voice actors have to cram a line into the time they have to lip sync. So where maybe a Japanese line would just be naturally linguistically shorter because the language is different, the English voice actor would have to say is maybe longer, which is why sometimes they'll say weird things while they'll cram them in. Also, man, some of the voice direction choices are just funny.
Please tell me a clue.
Very well. Aha, I can see it now.
I love it. Years ago, I was Chinese. Tremendous game. Have a good one and I'll catch you in the next one. Oh, just in time too, my Barry's about to die.